everyone, Ethys here, bringing you a second part of, what did I call it the first one? Ask Ethys? Something lame like that. Anyway, you know what I'm doing, you've seen the title. I've got a bunch of new questions. I know it's been a month, if you believe it. I don't know, time works really weird for me. It feels like it's only been like a week. It's been a month, and I have a handful of new questions, and I'm gonna get into them in a minute because there's some really great ones here. But before we start, I need to do a couple of quick announcements. I'm gonna apologize in advance because it's a plug, it's a blatant plug. Someone was asking the other day on State of the Realm whether I have any merchandise or any t-shirts or anything like that. From the channel design done by my good friend Viv, we have actually put her on a t-shirt. It's at teespring.com/ethys, and if you like it, if you're running out of shirts, if you want to support the channel, that's a cool way to do it. If you prefer to go shirtless, then please don't feel like you're please don't feel like you're under any obligation. Also, I did reluctantly and under coercion make a Patreon recently. Again, I don't want anyone to feel obligated. It's not gonna affect what I'm doing at the moment. The content's always gonna be free. It's always gonna be, I'm doing as much as you know what I do. I don't need to make excuses for myself there. Anyway, straight in the question. So firstly, hey Ethys, how old are you? Are you in uni, postgraduate, etc.? Now, I don't get a lot of personal questions, and I think that some people might feel like I don't like them, or that it's kind of a rude thing to do. I'm okay with personal questions. If you guys want to ask me personal questions, I can handle it. So how old am I? Bloody hell. I'm 24. So young, I guess, or old, depending on how old you are. Are you in uni, postgraduate, etc.? Yeah, so I done a Bachelor of Arts. I major in English and philosophy, and at the moment I'm just finishing up my honors year in philosophy. So I'll be done at the end of this year, and after that, who knows? Okay, next question. Another great video, Ethys. Got a question for you. What is your theory about how the Great Seven Dragons communicate? We know where Nidhogg lied and from where he roared, and the distance the roar covered. From the Ares as far south as Mordona and beyond, yet they never roared for help when they were attacked. Bahamut, Ratatoskr, and lastly Nidhogg, all three possibly ambushed or tricked. I mean, Nidhogg had to personally present himself before Hraesvelgr and tell him what the situation was for him to find out what was going on, so I'm curious about your thoughts on that. That's actually a really, really good question. Honestly, the true answer is probably just narrative convenience, you know? And that's the case with a lot of things, but whenever I run into one of those, I want to, whether it's like headcanon or not, I want to try to find a way to explain it to make it a little bit more rational and coherent. So I'd say, well done, Poe. I'd say that for Nidhogg not calling for help, it's probably a pride thing. He doesn't want to admit that he needs that help. As for Ratatoskr, I'd say they probably, just ambushed her and took her out too quickly for her to roar. Bahamut, well, in his primal form, he's not really Bahamut. I'm sorry if that's a spoiler. Well, that is a spoiler, but I mean, if you're asking the question, you've probably finished the main scenario already. What else was it? Oh, and Nidhogg presenting himself before Hraesvelgr after he'd lost his eyes. To that, I'd say maybe the roar, because it's like an ethereal roar. It's not a literal roar. We know that the source of the dragon's ether are their eyes. Maybe without the eyes, he couldn't do it. He couldn't send out the signal. That's what I'd say to that. I hope that answers the question satisfactorily. It's a hard one. No, it's one of those funny little plot holes. Anyway, next question. Hey there, Ethys. I always love your videos. Thank you very much. I've been wondering if you were planning videos on specific classes or races. With the new summoner, I should say, job quests, a lot was revealed about the past Allagan techniques. With the races, I just love to hear where they originate from and how each sub-race differ. Lalafell, Plainsfolk, and Dunesfolk, etc. Okay, so firstly, with the job quests, I definitely, Summoner is definitely one that I want to cover particularly. There's a few that I'm really interested in, kind of the history of them. I didn't do it before Heaven's Ward because I was expecting us to find out a lot more during the Heaven's Ward job quests. And as of right now, I've only leveled Dragoon, Ninja, and Monk all the way to 60. And of those three, the only kind of really interesting one in terms of like new lore details and stuff, as far as I'm concerned, is the Monk. I definitely want to do Summoner. So the short answer, yes, I want to do stuff like this, but it'll be once I've kind of gotten through the content, I've leveled those jobs myself. Secondly, with the races, well, I'm rather than doing dedicated videos on that, what I've been doing is talking about it in other videos. Like I did one recently on Uldar, Sildir, Beladias, with that history of Thanalan, and that talks a lot about the origins of the Lalafells and how they came from these islands south of the Ciudades. And I think that on those islands, the way it basically worked was the Plainsfolk were near the coasts, and the Dunesfolk lived in the sort of center of these isles that were a bit more like Thanalan. You know, they were a bit kind of arid. I've also talked in my Gelmora video about how the Duskwhite were basically the Elezen that survived that whole Gelmoran experience and came out of there changed. As for the other ones, I'll get to it. I'll definitely get to it. I'm not going to go through all of them now, otherwise we'll be here for an hour. But yeah, that's a great idea. I'll get on that. Thank you. Next question. The Dark Knight job lore is amazing. Are you going to cover it again? Yeah, I think I will. If I think there's something there that I can talk about that hasn't been noticed or hasn't been covered or beaten to death yet by the time I get around to leveling it, I'm definitely interested in doing that. So please look forward to it. Next question. Hey Ethys, I have a question. Why is Bahamut way bigger and stronger than his 6 brothers and sisters? Well, the Bahamut that we see that is way stronger, again, spoiler, it's not actually Bahamut. It's the idea of Bahamut, given form. It's ontologically different, even though it has the same name. So an Elder Primal, you know, he's been fed ether for thousands of years. He's going to be more powerful than any mortal creature, even a dragon. You good there, Poe? Hey, I'm in a bit of attention. He doesn't like it when I'm giving other people attention. That's why I usually have the birds in another room when I'm recording, because they start to get noisy and stuff. Anyway, next question. Would our way of trapping and destroying Ascians work on primals, or could they just be called forth again? Also, are we part of an escalating problem? Are our enemies growing stronger naturally, or because we are getting stronger? It seems balance is an important part of this world. That first question is really interesting. So what we're doing when we're destroying Ascians is we're taking that sort of coalesced nugget of ether which makes up something's essence, and we're fracturing that and we're destroying that. So primals, when we kill them, they're reverted back to just this essence, and the same thing when you destroy an Ascian's body, which I think has something to do with the nature of the echo. So in a way, yes, if you did that to a primal, it would destroy their essence. But if the primal's still got people worshipping it, it's going to cause another ethereal coalescence, and they'll be able to summon that primal again, even though it won't literally be the same essence. It will be, you know, another primal with the same name, the same appearance, the same powers, etc., etc. So yes and no, I guess. Secondly, are enemies growing stronger naturally or because we are getting stronger? I don't know. I mean, mechanically, yes, obviously, our enemies have to get stronger as we get stronger, you know. We can't be a level 60 character fighting level 50 enemies. In terms of explaining that canonically, yeah, it could be that whole balance thing, but I don't think so. I mean, the whole problem at the moment, and what Elidibus has been saying is basically the Warrior of Light is overpowered, and there's an imbalance in that sort of system and that natural entropy. I hope that answers it. So next question, we've got... let me see. Question for a future video. From a lore perspective, what do you see as the logical next destination for the Warrior of Light? Alamigo, Doma, something way out there like the New World, not the moon. I'm interested to hear your thoughts and early speculation. So I think it's going to be Alamigo. I think that's the most likely. I mean, that's what most people think, so it's not very exciting, but it probably is going to be Alamigo. We're going to have to address the whole Galilean occupation of Alamigo, and we're going to have to annex it, and hopefully that's when Gaius will show up again. No bite. Again, I'm going back to every time someone asks me about Alamigo, I end up talking about Gaius again. Yeah, it could be Doma. Look, Doma was razed to the ground, and I know some people think that means there's not really a chance of going back there. I know that Mr. Happy thinks there's not really anything left there, but I mean, when you bomb something to the ground, it doesn't completely destroy it. You know, it always starts to regrow after a couple of years. I mean, you look at Central Europe after each of the world wars. They were razed to the ground, but they still, you know. So I think, yeah, we could end up going to Doma. I don't think it'll be the next thing. I think it still needs more time to recover. As for the New World, I'd love to go to the New World. I reckon that would be really cool, so long as it's not Vanadil. But again, Alamigo's next, I think. Hey Ethys, what did you think of the post-50 Dragoon job quests? I reckon they were great. They were awesome. They were really good. They were almost as good as the pre-50 ones. Could you identify a reason why we are gaining new post-50 powers as a Dragoon, despite the focus of the job story not being on you as the Azure Dragoon? So basically what's happening is that we've kind of broken the limit of Dragooning, so to speak. We've become something more than what the Azure Dragoon has ever been. What we've been doing, particularly those first couple of missions in the Western Highlands, they were highlighting this idea that we were developing new techniques that had never been seen, just sort of spontaneously. So it's less about us learning and more about us developing things independently, which we then pass on to other Dragoons. I hope that answers your question, because I'm moving on to the next. What exactly is the Blessing of Light that we have, and what does it do for us? On that note, how did we make it stronger in Heaven's Ward, and what does that do for us as Warriors of Light? And is having the Blessing because we have the Echo, or could someone with the Echo have the Blessing? I think I know what you mean there. So I am going to do a video to address this. I can't really answer in 30 seconds what I think the Blessing of Light is. It's pretty complicated. The Echo, I think, is a prerequisite. Again, he just hates me talking to other people, doesn't he? I'm just going to let him go. Do you think we should let him go? Anyway, so... yes, the Echo is a prerequisite for the Blessing of Light, but not everyone with the Echo has the Blessing of Light. Obviously, we know the Ascians have the Echo. The Blessing of Light became stronger at the end of Heaven's Ward because Midgard some more basically suppressed... So Midgard some more basically suppressed our connection with the crystals. And what that did was basically... You know, Poe's not going to let me answer this question. I've covered this in my metaphysics video on the Warrior of Light, so go check that out. Hopefully that answers your question. Sorry about that, everyone. Poe is just he was not tolerating the lack of direct attention he was being given there. Anyway, next question. So there are currently only 2 areas in the Ablathia's spine, the Sea of Clouds and Azys La. Question is, do you think we will get new areas over the course of Heavensward for this region? No, probably not. I would like to. If we do, it might be part of the whole airship exploration and the functions and content involved with that. That's mostly Sea of Clouds, though, as far as I can tell. Do you think we'll have to wait till the next expansion for new areas? Yeah, probably. Yoshi said once we probably wouldn't get an expansion every year. So I'm thinking over the lifespan of Heavensward, we might get new areas. Well, Realm Reborn was more than a year, and we didn't really get any new areas there. We just got a couple of current areas with, little bits and corners added to them, and the stuff we saw in Mordona with Revenant's Toll being built up. We'll see stuff like that, and stuff like that's always really cool to see. That'll obviously happen in Idleshire. If we do, what areas would you like them to add? Okay, well, if we were to get new areas, I would definitely want to see some more of Ablathia's spine. Specifically, I'd want to see where the Hellsguard Brigade and the Gigas are hanging out. If there are any Gigas still left in Ablathia's spine, that would be great. And secondly, I'd like to see the Western Shroud, which is something that I've been talking about since well before Heavensward. I'd like to see some more Gelmoran ruins and some more Duskwhite presence, some more Duskwhite, colonies or camps. Or we know so little about the Duskwhite; it's so underrepresented. Between them and the Hellsguard, I think those would both be really interesting things to explore. Next question. What are your thoughts on ghosts and spirits in the Final Fantasy XIV world, specifically known spirits like Edda, the short interactions with Ozali, the girl who died in Foundation from freezing to death? We see vengeful monsters who are spirits frequently enough, as well as void-sent apparitions, but human spirits seem very rare, their attachment to Hydaelyn being uncommonly strong. Might these spirits be able to manifest, much like void-sent, by possessing the dead, be able to linger indefinitely, or assume a nature similar to primals, where crystals and prayer might transcend them, much like Iceheart became a primal? Okay. That's a really good question, actually. That's a really interesting one. So I've talked about this idea before, and I was talking about it earlier when we were talking about primals. Ethereal coalescence is that each person has, this essence, which is effectively their soul, which is attached in the noumenal realm to their physical body by some sort of theoretical string. And when that string is cut, for normal people, their body disintegrates into ether natural to Hydaelyn, whereas their soul or essence disintegrates into ether, which is natural to the Livestream. The exceptions being, if it's an essence that's being held together by focus of prayer, so if it's a primal soul, I believe, based on the fact that Ascians can also rejuvenate effectively in the same way that primals do, I believe that the echo works in a similar way in terms of sustaining that ethereal coalescence, and that could also give a canonical reason for the players being able to be raised as opposed to NPCs that sort of just die when they fall in combat. So the echo, and in terms of people like Edda, you've got basically ritual magic. They're keeping that together. I did a video on Edda. It's not canon. It's purely headcanon. But I think that Edda has made some sort of pact with Voidsent that allows her to kind of be sustained in that similar manner. So human spirits are either going to be a case of some void ritual magic, some necromancy, or the other possibility is that they could be people who had the echo, who have died, and their body is no longer, but their essence has stayed together for some reason. That's a really interesting question. I think I might I don't think I'll do a dedicated metaphysics video on that, but I want to do a metaphysics video on the Echo, and I'll definitely talk about this there. So thanks for giving me that idea. That's really good. Next question. Actually, I'm going to take a sip of water. Next question's from Drazzy. Do you have any theories or thoughts on what future primals and beast tribes could be? Do you think we will get more than just these two current primals/tribes? Also, where were the Gigas and the Balathia Spine? I know, right? I mean, like I said, they're either where the Hellsguard are in an area that we don't have access to, or else it's possible that all of the Gigas ended up emigrating to Moderna, or they were somehow affected by the calamity. As for future primals, I really want to see Belias, of course. We know a new primal's coming in 3.1. I don't think it's going to be Belias. I think it's probably going to be the Minstrel's Ballad of Knights of the Round and King Thordan, which will be a great fight, don't get me wrong. I'm really excited for that. Everyone wants to see that. I still hope that we'll see our Belias fight sooner or later. As for future beast tribes, well, we know that the Vanu are coming in 3.1. We can expect the Nath to have some beast tribe quests. We can expect the Moogles. We can probably expect the dragons to either in Churning Mists or in the Forelands. I only say maybe in Churning Mists because we already know that the Nath are in the Forelands, but then again, the Moogles are already in the Churning Mists, so it's gonna have to double up somewhere, or maybe we won't get any dragon ones. I don't know. As for others, well, we're starting to get some hints towards the New World. We know Melweb's been there. We know that it's a thing. We know that the devs are obviously entertaining ideas of it in the back of their heads. So with that in mind, Mammal Jar definitely on the table at some point in future for Beast Tribe Quest. Way down the line. But that would be really interesting as well. Next question. Hey Ethys, I found you through the State of the Realm you did with Mr. Happy and Sly. Ever thought of doing live streams? Yes. Yeah, I've thought of it. I thought of it an awful lot. It's... So, the internet down here in Dinosaur Island, if you're not one of the very, very privileged few that are connected to the National Broadband Network, basically our upload's not good enough to be able to stream. So I can't. I'd like to, but I can't. My white mage streams, Lady Rewind, and she streams our raids, and I'm often hanging out in the stream chat, and if I'm not, I'm in Mumble with her, and if anyone wants to ask me anything on her stream, then she always directs that stuff to me. So feel free to drop by twitch.tv/Lady Rewind sometime. I mean, it's a great stream anyway. She's great. We have great fun. You get to watch me die and swear a lot, which is, you know, it's cool. Next question. 2 questions, it looks like. Firstly, is it truly possible for one person to create a primal if they believed enough, like someone extremely desperate? Well, that's what Gilgamesh did. What happened, however, was that it was a very weak primal, and I don't think it was one that he was going to be able to sustain for very long. It's also possible there's something unique about Gilgamesh, and perhaps less likely that a normal like Hure or Elders and Mortal would be able to summon their own primal. But I think the idea that Gilgamesh was so desperately yearning for his friend that it became the equivalent of a whole bunch of people praying, I think that was really endearing, and I don't see why they couldn't pull that one out again for some reason, if they find it convenient to the story. And your second question, couldn't a person summon a primal onto themselves and sustain it through sheer will or feed it ether through their own body? Yeah, that's exactly what Shiva does. However, I think to summon it onto yourself as opposed to summoning it as an eggy. No, not even that. I was going to say you have to like sincerely believe in it, but then Thordan does it, and he doesn't sincerely believe that King Thordan is a deity. So yeah, so long as the again, so long as that primal essence is out there somewhere, you can either draw external ether and cause it to form a body, or you can draw it under your own body. Sure. Now that, I think, yeah, that's actually the last question we've got. So I don't know how long this is going to be. I'm going to have to chop it up a bit because Poe was misbehaving earlier. But as of last time, leave some questions below in this video. This is the first place that I'll look when I make another one. And it doesn't have to be another month. I mean, a month seems like a decent time frame. But honestly, if I get enough questions in a week or two that I feel like I can do another one of these videos, then I'll definitely sit down and do it. Once again, the shirts are at Teespring. If you'd like one of those, the campaign's got another, it's got 24 days left. So if you're cold, buy a t-shirt. If you don't want a t-shirt and you want to support the channel in some other way, well, firstly, keep watching my videos. And I don't want to feel anyone to feel obligated, but if you're crazy, there is a Patreon up now, and you're free to check that out. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at like plugging stuff like this because I'm really sort of embarrassed by it and sort of apologetic and stuff like that. But the thing is, I'm going to be graduating at the end of the semester, and people have pointed out to me that I basically need to either commit to this to some extent in terms of, am I going to treat this like a part-time job or a full-time job, or I'm going to have to prioritize other things like finding full-time work. The channel won't be going anywhere, obviously. Like, I still spend every spare minute working on this, and I'll be still spending all my weekends and probably every night that I'm not raiding working on it when I'm doing full-time work next year. But yeah, you see where I'm going. Anyway, thanks guys, thanks. You know, even if you just watch, it's such a big help, and you're sharing it with your friends and you're following me on Twitter and all that. I really appreciate it. You guys, you're amazing. You get me through every day, and you're a huge inspiration to me. So you're awesome. Thanks very much, and I'll see you in the next video, whatever the next video is.